Because I when I did a wedding, I moved it. We gotta straighten out Mr.
I think it goes. Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's working.
Now, there was a red line across there.
Okay, all right.
Is it good?
Looks like it's good. You know what that red line was? It was to keep it stationary, and now that you turned it off, I think it's gonna move. Hold on a second. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Jay? Or you want to push the button in?
Let's push the button in, because I think it was moving.
Councilman Ryan and other council folks had already had other things on their agenda, but, so we had this picnic, and the senator wanted to give us this proclamation to recognize 100 years of the park, that beautiful park. And then she sent us a letter accompanied it with a letter because she couldn't make it herself. And she said, "Dear friends of Colonial Lake Park, it is an honor to bring greetings to the Friends of Colonial Lake Park as you celebrate the 100th anniversary of Colonial Lake Park. I regret that I'm unable to join you in celebrating this moment, but I wanted to take the opportunity to share my appreciation for the hard work and dedication of the Friends of Colonial Lake Park's staff." We don't have any staff, but that's okay, it makes us sound big. "Volunteers and community partners." I'm going to just interject here. The senator wrote this before her dear husband passed, which was last week, and she was, in fact, interring her husband at that very day. So we send our condolences there and pause to remember him, Donald, and her. She had other things on her agenda, so that's why she said she wouldn't be there, but then there was that. I wanted to mention that for the good senator, who many of us know. The senator went on, "I know that many families who come to Colonial Lake are in awe of the well-maintained grounds," shout outs to the Parks Department, "scenic picture settings, playgrounds, diverse fowl and fish, and serene walking trail. This is not a happenstance. This gem that we all get to enjoy is due to the vigilance, commitment, and advocacy of many men and women who dedicate their time and talents so that countless residents and future generations will reap the benefits of this park. As you continue to fulfill your mission, please know that our community supports you and appreciates you. On behalf of myself and the 15th Legislative District, please accept the accompanying resolution to honor this milestone achievement. Again, happy anniversary. Sincerely, Shirley Turner, Senator, 15th District." So I'll give this to the mayor. I don't know whether folks wanted to come around perhaps later, but, for the plaque.
Can I read it in here?
Oh, cool.
Of course, the David, I don't have my glasses. So bear with me. I don't know that. The Senate and General Assembly Joint Legislative Resolution by Senator Turner, Assemblywoman Reynolds Jackson, and Assemblyman Burrelli. Whereas Colonial Lake Park, highly esteemed in Lawrence Township, Mercer County, and throughout the Garden State, will mark its 100th anniversary during a festive picnic celebration on September 21st, 2024. And whereas the Senate and the General Assembly of the State of New Jersey are pleased to recognize Colonial Lake Park upon its felicitous occasion, which bears witness to the immeasurable contribution it has made to provide an oasis of peace and tranquility for all. And whereas Colonial Lake Park is widely renowned for its vast array of majestic wildlife and native flora, which offer visitors a serene ecosystem to explore, fish, and treasure. As its nonprofit organization, the Friends of Colonial Lake Park is deeply appreciated for its advocacy to protect and maintain the park. And whereas in 2018, Colonial Lake Park was granted open space funding with the help of allied representatives, which allotted additional acreage and prevented the threat of development on its landscape, allowing it to continue to provide equitable access to nature. And whereas throughout many seasons of growth and change, the Colonial Lake Park has stood as a landmark to the members of the community and residents of the state. And whereas it is altogether fitting and proper for the members of this legislature to pause in their deliberations to acknowledge Colonial Lake Park and to affirm its importance to all who enjoy its precious natural resources. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate and the General Assembly of the State of New Jersey that this legislature hereby congratulates Colonial Lake Park upon its centennial anniversary, pays tribute to the Friends of Colonial Lake Park for its exemplary stewardship and extends sincere best wishes for continued success in all the years to come. And be it further resolved that a duly authenticated copy of this resolution, signed by the Senate President and the Assembly Speaker, and attested by the Senate Secretary and the Assembly Clerk, be transmitted to Colonial Lake Park. Signed, Nicholas P. Scutari, President of the Senate, and Craig J. Cochran, Speaker of the General Assembly. So with that, congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor.
For your great work.
And now our president, Tom Ritter.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to be here. On a personal level, the Friends of Colonial Lake Park find it timely on this centennial anniversary to recognize the Lawrence Township Council and Township Manager for perhaps one of the most impactful and meaningful decisions regarding the Shep parcel as it relates to Colonial Lake Park. As has been mentioned here already, on two Saturdays ago, on the 21st, our nonprofit sponsored a community picnic in the park honoring the centennial, and at which time we informally presented a plaque to Mayor Farmer, accepting it on behalf of the council and manager. We would now like to formally read and present this plaque as a sign of the community's appreciation. With this in mind, I want to introduce my friend, neighbor, and colleague, Danielle Gordon.
Mayor, members of the board, it is my pleasure to present this plaque to you. I will read it first and then I will turn it over. It says, in recognition of the Lawrence Township Council and Township Manager, with great appreciation for their hard work, innovative efforts, and wise use of public open space funding in July 2020 to save Colonial Lake Park from development for the enjoyment of the lake and the abundance of wildlife it supports for present and future generations. As mentioned before, presented on September 21st, 2024, by the Friends of Colonial Lake Park nonprofit on the centennial of the creation of Colonial Lake and Colonial Lake Park.
Is anyone else? That's the way it's done. All right. Tom, why don't you come in? Thank you. And others, then if you're gonna be in.
Jim, why don't you get in there and I'll take a picture with you.
Let's get this one. Thank you, Sylvia.
I mean, I can get the whole thing.
Where is Sylvia?
I can't see everybody, so please put in.
That's a Christmas card.
Stand up on the bench.
All right.
Thank you.
Great, appreciate it. Great.
Thank you so much. Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Council, manager.
Great job.
Nice.
Hey, Mayor,
Yes.
if I may, before we move on, I just wanted to also acknowledge now Commissioner Kathleen Lewis and former Mayor Mike Powers as being members of the Township Council when we saved Colonial Lake Park. So I think their efforts should be recognized as well. So
Absolutely. Anybody else want to make any comments? No? Okay. This brings us to the public participation moment in the agenda. We have a 5-minute minute. So if there's anyone who wants to come up.
I give it to you. You have a copy.
You said to sign in on the sheet?
No.
Yeah, I was gonna do it after I talked,
Mhm.
as to not hold it all up, because last meeting was very long. Hi, my name is Bonnie Caglio. I've been a resident of Lawrence Township for over 15 years. Many of you might know me from my day job, but I'm here today to discuss something that I heard at the last council meeting that was very upsetting and has forced me to speak out tonight. I've been a proud member of the Lawrence Township Recreation Advisory Committee for the past 7 years. As someone who sat on various boards, I was admittedly unaware of the role of a township advisory committee, but I've learned over time that what the committee provides is an invaluable service to this town. For edification, the mandate of the advisory committee is to advise the recreation director, who is a town employee. It's a purely volunteer position with no actual power to make any decisions. It's a non-statutory committee, meaning that there's no town statute that regulates or gives power to the committee, unlike, say, a planning board. The recreation director sets the budget for the year, she sets the calendar of events, and she meets with the volunteers and the advisory board once a month to update us on activities, programming, and events of the department. The committee is full of dedicated volunteers who truly care about this town. There's a few here besides myself tonight. The recreation department holds many programs and amazing events throughout the year. A few examples: Community Day, Memorial Day Parade, 4th of July, the Holiday Lights Contest, trolley rides, Carnival Hand March, Veterans Day Ceremony. Way too many rec sports to list, the community gardens, the senior center. I could go on, but I will stop. The recreation department does amazing things for this town every day with only 3 staff members. The programming, recreational sports, and community events cannot happen with only 3 staff members. It takes a dedicated committee of volunteer community members to pull off these events and programmings. As anyone who's had experience with events will tell you, volunteers are essential to the success of an event. The advisory committee are those volunteers. We all try to attend as many events as we can to help the rec department make these events happen for our town. A little bit of research shows the advisory committee has been around since 1956. Probably older though. It had 9 members until 2007, when it was updated to 11 members because there was a need for volunteers. We have been down to 10 members this year, and many of us did not know that there was a community member whose application has been held up by this council, which I learned at the last council meeting. At that meeting, Councilman Ryan indicated that he wanted to make the advisory committee smaller, for reasons unknown, especially to those who are currently serving on the board. The idea that our town council would make it harder for community members to volunteer, or the town council members would make it harder for the recreation department to find volunteers, is beyond comprehension. The idea that town council members would hold up a volunteer, non-statutory committee appointment for months with no explanation or discussion, it's not standard procedure, it's not very transparent, and it is not in the best interest of our town. All things that the current council claim to believe in. To limit these community members who want to serve, who have been recommended by a sitting council member who is volunteering for an advisory board position, is short-sighted, mean-spirited, and insulting to all of those who volunteered in the past. Our committee is a member short. We always need help. And you have a community member waiting months with no word on the status of his application. As a member of the advisory board, I object to this treatment of another community member who wanted to join the board. I object to the implication that the advisory board should be made smaller than it currently is, and I ask that the council reconsider or to clarify their positions on both of these issues. We all serve in different ways. The council serves in the way they see fit. I serve in the way I see fit. And limiting others from serving does a disservice to this town and to its residents. The recreation department and the community events that they host, especially the free ones, are the lifeblood of this vibrant community. The advisory committee members devote hours and hours of their time over the course of the year to help assist the recreation department pull off these events. I'm proud of what we do for this town, and I wish that the council would support us in our work in the future by fully filling our committee with community members who apply for the position, and by supporting the recreation department and all the important work that they do. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Seeing no additional comments? Okay, reviewing the agenda, are there any changes to the agenda this evening?
Madam Mayor,
Are there any changes?
I'd like to speak.
You'd like to make a comment? Sure.
This application's been held up since April. This board knew about it. Numerous times it was put back on the agenda, and it was held up. The last month's meeting, because I insisted on a vote, the vote took place. It sent a strong message to this community that council does not care about volunteers. That's the message out there right now. For 15 years, I served. And for 15 years, when a member of council, a liaison, recommended a person, that person was appointed to that board. All of a sudden, a liaison recommends the person and is not appointed to the board. Mr. Ryan asked me to hold it up. I agreed with him when he asked me to and said, let's have a meeting. The meeting never took place. Or I would have told him from the beginning, I will not support lowering the number of recreation people, volunteers. If anything, we increase it. Our manager made a statement a few months ago about adding another person on this committee for the study of the rec center, that it could be. That person would have been appointed as another person on this board. It would have raised it to a higher number, that's all. And it could have been done. This gentleman could have been appointed last month. And when and if somebody steps up from Eggers Crossing, because again, for the 15 years I served here, Terrence Leggett stepped up for me on the planning board. Your brother helped out for a while. Rob Mason helped out for a while, and then Hilly. 4 people from Eggers Crossing stepped up in 15 years that I've been here and been asking, we need the help, come and get involved. All right, I know they're busy down there, and I know they have other lives too, but 4 people over 15 years stepped up to the plate for us here.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman. I just want to publicly state that we value our volunteers and we take very seriously those that we admit to boards and committees. That's all I'm going to say.
Mayor.
Absolutely.
What strikes me about this situation is that we're sort of breaking with past precedent. In all of my time that I've served on council, with the advisory committees, we always deferred to the council liaison, always. In part because they're the ones who are working with these people. And so now, are we going to now interview for all committee appointments? That's a question I have, because it sounds as if this council does not trust the council liaison for different committees. So just putting that out there about understanding what we are changing and what new roles we are going to be taking on. So thank you.
Understood. Moving right along. We are now at the adoption of minutes of the previous meeting, regular meeting of March 19th, 2024.
Mayor, I'd like to move 8A, regular meeting, March 19th, 2024.
You have a second? Need a second on the minutes?
Second.
Okay.
Matt,
Is
Mayor,
there-
I think we do have an addition to the
Yeah, I'm sorry.
agenda.
Okay.
We missed the,
All right, let's go then.
if I may, Mayor, a situation came up within literally the last day or so involving I guess it's a piece of artwork at the community center, which is technically belongs to the Johnson Atelier out of Hamilton Township. Because it was originally, there was a contract with Homefront. Homefront is obviously not there. Johnson Atelier, for obvious reasons, would like to have the contract with the Township of Lawrence. And that is in order. I've had opportunity to review the documents. We've had correspondence with our
insurance agent to make sure that the proper insurances are in place now for the township as opposed to home front. And the reason we want to do this is because it's on the property. It's not something that's going to be coming in the future. And we want to make sure that we have the proper legal authority to keep it there. So we're able, under both our code and Robert's rules, to add a resolution orally to the agenda. It's a little unusual, but given the circumstance, legally, we want to add a resolution indicating that we accept and adopt an agreement with Johnson Atelier to maintain the existing piece of artwork on the property. And we have already confirmed the insurances are proper for it, and the contract, which I have in fact reviewed, is in order. And we didn't want to wait another couple weeks because it's physically there.
Yeah.
And it's no longer really legally in the name of Homefront. So I don't think anyone wants to have it removed. So we're happy to try to maintain the status quo with the piece of artwork.
If we could just for the public education, it's the piece with the young boy, I think he's on a skateboard,
Yes.
in the front of the building, he stands alone. Do we know the value of it, or?
We do have it.
Yes,
Okay.
we do.
Well, I guess we don't need to see that.
But the value
Maybe
meets within
insured.
our insurance.
There we
Yes,
go. Okay.
we're fully insured on it.
And I think it's important that we maintain the facade and the presence to the community with regard to it. So,
Yeah, there's a history with Johnson.
yeah, we want to maintain that relationship, so. So I think that the resolution would be a motion for the council to authorize the execution of the agreement.
Right.
To enter into with Sewer Johnson Tillier Foundation.
Can you repeat,
So we'll add that, what number?
Mayor, can you repeat what that motion is, or that oral resolution? I'll put it under H9 under miscellaneous.
Yeah, it's a
Good.
a motion to authorize the execution of the contract between the township and Seward Johnson Atelier Foundation to maintain the statute as it presently exists on the site. Don't ask me to repeat that.
H statute on, and we should say 295 Edwards Crossing Road,
Okay.
That's fine.
295 Edwards Crossing Road. And do you need the spelling for?
I do have one question, if I could ask it now, or should I wait till the, the township mayor, I'm asking the township manager if he's comfortable with the ability for us to maintain it within budgetary constraints of the Public Works Department.
This is a donation. It's going to maintain a donation, and so it does not create a financial burden on the township.
Yeah, and the maintenance of it, yeah. we think it's important. You were asking that, the maintenance, right, the cost of.
I was asking the township manager, so that's okay, thank you, Mayor. Yep, I'm good. So I will make a motion adding 18H9, I'm guessing resolution number 349, authorizing the execution of contract with the township, between the Township of Lawrence and Atelier Johnson to maintain an existing sculpture on the grounds of the neighborhood center?
295 Edwards.
295
Edwards Crossing.
295 Edwards Crossing.
That's statute, yeah. Okay, thank you, Councilman. So do you need to do anything?
No, so we can move that in the block when we get to it.
Okay.
Point of order, should we have a second on that, my
Yes,
motion, so that we
yes.
could then vote to?
Second.
Okay. Now this is to amend to include.
Yes.
Second include.
Yes, and then the second is who?
Councilman Ryan.
Mr. Ryan. Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. And thank you for that. It's important that it does keep.
It's nice, it's a nice addition, yeah.
That's another thing. Yeah, we'll move back to the adoption of the minutes. I don't know if we still have the.
I have it removed, Mr. Bobbitt moved it,
Mm-hmm.
Councilman Bobbitt moved it.
Second.
Second by Councilman Ryan. You ready to call them?
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Abstain, I was not here.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. Okay. Now we're moving to the awarding and/or rejection of bids.
Mayor, if I may, I'd like to move 9A, number 332, authorizing a contract for the rehabilitation of 3 Allegheny Avenue.
Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we could move. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councilwoman Perry. If you
Mayor,
could
can I
call-
just put a brief description?
Yes.
This authorizes a contract to Unlimited Builders Construction LLC in the amount of $27,650. And it's for the rehabilitation work for a qualified property, and it's paid for under our affordable housing program.
Thank you. All right, you could have the roll call, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. We have the introduction of ordinances, adoption of ordinances with public participation.
Mayor, if I may, I'd like to move 11A, ordinance number 2477-24, ordinance amending ordinance number 2394-21 by the Township of Lawrence, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, in order to revise the description of the improvement herein.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any participation from the public?
Sylvia Cobus, good evening. I would just like to suggest that the money that is being approved tonight for improvements of the parking lot, that's the ordinance, if I'm not mistaken. Chief Longo had asked for better fencing along 295 ramp and a gate, I guess, because people tend to drive around the building, the police department, getting in the parking lot for the police cars. And if there is extra money, I think that should go towards the improvement of the police department parking lot. Thank you.
Yes, you may comment.
Yeah, quick, I believe we, Mr. Noyes, didn't we approve that for fencing for the police department?
That's all been approved. It's encumbered in our budget. It's a project.
When's it gonna start, you know?
I don't know when it's gonna start, but I know that the engineer, it's one of the projects that they're gonna be working on.
Very good. All right, thank you. Okay, are we ready to call the roll?
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes.
Mayor, I'd like to move 11B, ordinance number 2478-24, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2428-22, an ordinance of the Township of Lawrence regulating residential rental units.
Any questions from the public? Seeing none, do we have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. Now, we will have the manager's report. Anything?
If I could just for the public's edification, that ordinance that we just passed, that's to amend an ordinance to comply with state law that landlords now presently renting must provide proof of registration within the town and proof of liability insurance to the tenants. This is an additional obligation that the clerk will have to undertake in her office. I think there's approximately 3,000 rental units in Lawrence Township. This is an annual registration.
Rental and, also business.
And commercial as well. I don't have any
Anything else?
report.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Simon.
I don't have any actual report. I think we're going to have a discussion with regard to one of the resolutions, but that'll come later.
Okay. And then Madam Clerk, is there anything you have for us?
Just a little bit about early voting. As you see, we got signs around the building. We do have it up on our social media sites, our electronic board over at the senior center,
Yes.
and our vote by mail box is open now for anyone that wants to utilize that. It opened on 9/23. Early voting will be October 26th through November 3rd, Monday through Friday, 10 to 8, Sunday, 10 to 6. Let's see, Election Day is November 5th, so we're gearing up for that. The deadline for the voters to register is October 15th. And we'll start just preparing for the boards and committees list, getting them all ready and everything like that.
Right, that came quick.
Lot of work ahead.
Thank you for that. Okay. And then unfinished business. Mr. Miller, if I could just ask you one question. So, regarding the light on Federal City Road, do we know, where we stand with that at this
Yeah,
point?
we've finished the design work
Oh, okay.
for the light that we've committed to, which is the one at Federal Point with the other side being, was it Woodmont and Hopewell?
Mhm.
Yeah, so we're advancing on that. The design work is almost completely done. When it's done, it gets submitted to New Jersey DOT and the county for their review and approval. And then at that point, we're ready to go.
All right, okay, thank you for that update. Anything else? No, okay. New business,
Mayor, I have two items for new business.
okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
First, I'd like to get a sense from council about resolutions and proclamations. It seems as if some of them have been coming in very quickly and sort of being at odds with the clerk's staff and their sort of statutory duties, right? And I think it might be time for us to sort of maybe have a resolution that sort of delineates to all of us, or maybe we can talk amongst ourselves, but it seems like that's hasn't been working this year, about what the timing is, what the purpose of the resolutions are, sort of the cost of staffing and the materials involved, and sort of who we give sort of ground rules. I
Thank you for
understand.
that, yeah.
I understand in the past, there have been lawsuits throughout the country where if they're not sort of standards, if it's kind of everyone gets to ask and then you deny someone, that can lead to trouble. So that's one.
Mhm.
And then the other piece I had was communications by you, of all things. I understand that you sent out a letter last Friday to the county executive asking for funding for the community center.
Yes, I see you on that.
Yeah, I understand that you CC'd me on it, but it seems in our form of government, the council acts as a body. And I don't believe that we ever talked about the funding or asking the county executive for an amount of $100,000 to facilitate the repairs to the center. And so it would seem appropriate that communications by the mayor is merely part of council, right?
Absolutely.
And so if we could have more conversations in public to be open and transparent about these things so that we can advocate effectively. We have a we have someone who helps us write grants, we have
Yes.
someone who asks for money, who's been quite successful in this. And so to see your letter was very troubling in a way, because it didn't have much to it.
Right,
And so,
that, just for explanation and for public, how do you say it, transparency. That was something that was discussed with the, township manager as well as, the other, I believe we had a discussion about the community center and funding. This wasn't the first time that funding was requested for the center. We requested funding earlier in the spring, I believe in March, and we actually had the townships, I lost the word, the person who writes the grants, the grant writer, actually did submit, some information, and I think you recall, I also, testified with, Councilman Lewinsky, at the State House with regards to funding for the center earlier in March. So this was just a continuation of that request, and it was, the county who asked for us to submit something in writing because it was time sensitive with regards to if there were any funds available that they could consider us, especially with the work that we're doing with the community center and all of the rehabilitation and the extensive costs that we're looking to incur as a township. We're merely looking for opportunities that were presented to us for funding, and we submitted a brief description, again, with the knowledge of the township manager who runs the day-to-day operations, and he is the person that I go to with regard to anything like that. So it was, so his direction.
I
don't think you should be surprised by that. That's been an ongoing.
I guess what I'm surprised about is typically all powers of policy are vested in the council.
Communication goes both ways. You could also reach out to me at any time, because I'm always gonna reach out to you either by a phone call or through email, and that is what I did.
Hey, I'm sorry for this being in public. I did try to call you earlier today. And so again, it's just, it would have been nice to see this draft before it went out. That's all.
You're more than welcome. And your help is always welcome as well. Your opinion counts.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, you do?
May I make an announcement on new business?
Yes. Okay, please do.
So I would like to make a quick announcement on new business. Let us wish the mayor a happy belated birthday.
My birthday. Thank you. Lovely. Another year wiser. Okay, thank you. All right, this brings us now to public participation, 3 minutes.
Good evening, Jim Cleek. I sort of rise in support of what the lady said earlier about the Recreation Committee. I was flabbergasted at the end of last meeting because when it was brought up, and I find myself tonight in disagreement with people that I'm usually in agreement with, because when that was brought up and it made the rounds and there was a motion and an accept and a second, and then two, preferring not to vote, and then the mayor cast the deciding vote to kill it. It was all Greek to me. And then when Lee spoke today, I felt the same way she did, but I still was confused. And then afterwards, I got a little better feel about what seems to have been the reason for it. And still don't know if I'm right, but I get the feeling that there's a feeling with the mayor, and perhaps others, that it's more desirable to have a certain ethnic break among these, well, you're shaking your head, but maybe I'm wrong, tell me.
Not
Among, on these committees. And I can understand that. It's like teachers in schools, not being all one race or ethnicity. But if
It has nothing to do, I just want to, I just have to, for the record, it has nothing to do with the race or ethnicity.
well, the area where the neighborhood or something, anyway.
That is diverse neighborhood, it does not have anything to do with race or ethnicity, for the
Well,
record.
And I know I'm somebody who talks a lot and doesn't volunteer very much, so I probably should, but I do appreciate those that do. And I really enjoy coming to a lot of those things that the recreation department pulls on. I can't understand why it seems to me not reasonable to try and make it smaller. And on one hand, and on the other hand, if nobody had any particular other volunteers, and somebody who has been on the committees for 15 years, recommends somebody, I just for one don't understand the reason for rejecting it. And lastly, because I know I must be past my 3 minutes already, but when do we go, will there be further discussion about this in lieu of taxes for 3131 Princeton Pike?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anyone else for public participation? Okay. Closing public participation. Moving on to the resolutions. Okay, do we have a motion to move?
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to move 18A1 through H4, then H9, H8, and H9 in block.
Okay. Do we have a second?
A second.
Madam Clerk, we could call the roll.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mayor Farnum.
Yes.
Mayor, I'll move 18H5, 345, authorizing the municipal clerk to solicit applications and advertise for the deputy municipal clerk position.
I believe we
Need a second?
need a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Motion in a second.
And then I believe Mr. Sypak.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, thank you. This is a resolution with regard to the appointment of a deputy municipal clerk. I thought it was going to be relatively innocuous. I was wrong. There seems to be a difference of opinion, difference of legal opinion between myself and the township manager as to the authority for this appointment. I certainly respect his ability to question some of the legality of it. I do not feel at this point right now that I have the proper background to present to council in terms of the legislative history and other areas that I think would be persuasive towards my argument, and would respectfully request that it be tabled so that I can have a formal opinion issued to council of my research on it, and certainly Mr. Nowinski can have an opportunity to issue his thoughts on paper on it, and then council could decide, because it is obviously a change in the clerk's office, and should be thoroughly discussed and researched before we move forward. It's my recommendation. It's up to you, whatever you want to do.
Mayor,
My question to you, Art, is even with your research you're doing, got to do more research. Is it going to go above the 2% cap that we're stuck with? If it goes above the 2% cap that we're stuck with and you want a deputy clerk, are we getting rid of the 3 firemen that we promised to hire in January? All that has to be in
No, I don't
with
disagree.
your paperwork to tell us what is and what is the cost of it all.
Well, that would have to be ascertained through the CFO, but I understand your request. I cannot do the calculation, but that certainly we
Ask
would
our
have.
manager to have it ready
Well,
for
we
me.
can have the CFO, I guess.
Listen, Mr. Sypek and I have discussed this earlier today. I'm satisfied that I think it's appropriate to table it at this time. We can continue with our discussions. This resolution broke with precedent on a lot of different levels. One being, adding a new position to the municipal government without discussion at all I think it requires more than what happened in this situation than just putting a resolution and saying, let's hire a deputy municipal clerk. And I think that the clerk should have an opportunity to weigh in on the needs of an additional person, as well as thoughts on who that person should be. And we have a break in our understanding of the law, so we have to resolve that first and foremost.
Please clarify for me, was not there a deputy clerk prior to this?
I was the deputy clerk for 16 and a half years.
Yes, okay,
Okay,
all right, hold on.
So, just so that you
Yeah,
all
that's
understand,
right.
they're in an organizational chart, and there are at times vacancies.
Mhm.
And, so that happens. But the work of the clerk's office is being done. So there's no deficiency in terms of a deputy municipal clerk needed, and that work is not being done. The work is being done, and there are plans in place to fill that vacancy. We've been discussing it for months now, and that this resolution just came on. I think Mr. Ryan was the one that put the resolution on. We need to
Pump the brakes.
pump the brakes on it, because adding $90,000, which would be the cost of salary and benefits to someone that fits that title in that salary range, is significant in terms of our municipal budget.
But Mr. Nowinski, I guess there are members on this council who feel that perhaps there are some deficiencies that aren't being met because there's an absence
Well, I mean,
because the historical, as Madam Clerk just stated, she was a deputy clerk for 16 years
Mhm.
prior to becoming the clerk.
Mhm.
So it's a significant position, and it has responsibilities that maybe there are those on council who feel that, we should adjust,
and listen,
because that should be an open,
that's
an
the
existing
discussion,
in
that's
personnel. Yeah, and we'll
the
discuss
discussion,
that
right?
off,
And so it should happen
So
more
should
than
be
just a
formalized,
resolution
yeah.
and having it go out.
Absolutely.
There's different layers to it, and
Yeah.
and
So we're
listen,
gonna get
we
clarification,
absolutely discuss.
get clarification on the law, so that we're working, in accordance to, what is the correct procedure, because we're gonna follow procedure,
Mayor,
and then council.
just a quick, months ago, I had brought that up also, and you were gonna look into it, and we haven't heard anything
Okay.
about bringing that back, about salary and stuff like that.
So what this has done, this has brought us to the point where we're going to have the discussion, and we will, move forward in the best interest of council and our town.
Mayor, if I may.
Absolutely.
Mr. Sypek, just as a reminder, I also sent you an email asking questions about this, the legality of this very resolution. So I hope you can get back to me on that as well when you,
No, I will. I will prepare a document for the entire council.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And one of the questions I also had about this resolution was that it seemed like there was a very quick rush to put this out for bid, to interview and hire someone. Does the mayor, the manager, do we have the funding available to pay for someone if we said hired them, knowing that the 2024 budget has been adopted back in the spring?
Senior budget, we're in and I'm not gonna speak out of turn, but I know that this is a time of the year where there are things that can be adjusted or changed in the budget.
Not until November 1st.
No,
Until
this is-
November.
This is a brand new
So
position.
it is not brand new, it's
It's
an
not brand
existing position.
It's in the administrative code.
Yeah.
You shall have a deputy municipal
Right.
clerk. I don't want to get into
We're
the,
not, that's our
but
tabling
that's
it.
in your code, that
Yeah.
it's not you may,
Yes.
that you must have a deputy municipal clerk.
I think,
Right?
yeah, no, I have not said anything against the idea of having a municipal clerk. It is very clearly in a separate section for municipal clerk that it is part of our township code. The questions I have are the appointing authority and whether that's the manager of the township council. And that to me is unclear, and that's why I reached out to Mr. Sypek.
Yes.
And so that is the piece. And then I think from our fiduciary standpoint, understanding what the cost ramifications are, whether we have the funding available to hire someone let me finish, please, in this budgetary year, And so to me, it seems as if there might not necessarily be a rush to do this before the end of the year. I understand that there is concern amongst some of council that the clerk's office is overwhelmed. I think if you talk to the township manager, you might find that there are plans in place. And I'm sure you know that, Mayor. So
Not exactly.
I didn't know.
No.
I would say this.
I don't care what you say in public, this is a personnel matter, so we really don't need to.
Don't worry.
go
No,
into
I
it.
got you covered.
all
I have a
I would
voice
say
notice.
is if you'd asked the township manager
Excuse me,
of the
she has a
clerk,
race notice, I don't know what that means.
or the clerk about sort of what the status of that department and how they're planning on moving forward, you would have gotten a plan, because I did when I asked them. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
May I just make one
One
comment?
minute, yes,
May I
ma'am.
make a comment?
No, Councilwoman Perry, go ahead.
Our clerk has been working very hard and diligently to assist us. Again, I am sad to say that miscommunication is something that we all have to work on. That's the reason why we serve the public, to communicate to them. The purpose of this resolution is to make our township better. And that's it.
May I speak?
Briefly, yes, go
Thank
ahead,
you.
Councilman. Madam Clerk.
Our office has been through some challenges this year, health-wise, death, family matters. However, my staff hasn't hardly, and yes, we're a little bit behind, but we will catch up. We made plans and provisions, and I went to the manager. We have a part-timer in that's helping us now. We also have, I made some administrative changes where we have a person that's dedicated to doing our minutes, to getting them caught up. We have our other person that's back now. And our office is getting back to our rhythm. We do almost 2,500 dog licenses, 1,000 cat licenses. We do many, many duties in that office. And my staff, even with all the challenges this year, haven't missed a beat. So we step up to the plate, we get the job done, And I don't appreciate hearing saying we got deficiencies in our office. We have had some challenges this year, but that's every municipality. That's every municipality. I went to our manager, I had we had to put our budgets in for the 27th. In my budget, I asked for a part-timer to come in, to help us next year. I also asked for one of the people that's in my office to move into the deputy position. She is taking the courses. And then our
I
other,
think we're going off by,
and
no one's asking you to defend yourself.
I'm just
That's not-
saying
this is-
that I
You're
don't
not gonna have
appreciate publicly that it's.
You're not gonna have
our
this discussion in public
Yeah.
though.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just
It's not,
stating,
you know,
you put the resolution forth and I'm
Yes.
just stating a fact.
your opinion, okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, we're closing that.
Just
So we have one
point of
more.
clarification, Mayor. Mr. Bobbitt did ask for an opinion, a legal opinion with regard to the appointing authority. I intend to do that, not just for Mr. Bobbitt, for everybody, including obviously the manager. But as to Mr. Kanaki's question, I'm not finance officer. I will gladly refer that question to the finance officer to answer, but I will give a strict legal opinion on the appointing authority under the New Jersey statutes and the Lawrence Township Administrative Code. Any financial issues, decisions will have to come from the CFO. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to table this resolution.
We have a second?
Second.
We'll give the second to, Councilman Knapp. Do it the next one. Okay, if we could have a roll call, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan. I mean, Ms.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah,
Mayor
when
Farmer.
are we tabling this till?
Okay, Mayor.
What date?
I would say until our township attorney comes to a
Yeah,
resolution.
November.
We have the 17th and then the.
Yeah, the
November.
17th, be glad to talk about it. I will be in Norway.
Oh.
Yeah, he's.
Glad to come.
Like I can't fly back?
It's my 50th wedding anniversary
Congratulations.
trip.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm a year late.
So Mayor, I think he needs to go.
I really gotta go to this trip. I'm a little behind, but, no, in all seriousness, I'm very happy to celebrate that. But I think hopefully our first meeting in November, which I think is the 7th, because the 5th is election day. But, I'll communicate obviously with the, board, with council, on that, and, tell my wife I got a round of applause for that.
Yeah.
She's watching.
Yes, she probably. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And if we could have the roll call, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. Okay, and now,
Mayor, I'd like to move 18H6, 346, authorizing the mayor's task force to provide a report to the governing body on the continued operation of Lawrence Community Center.
Is second?
Second.
Mayor, I'd like to make some changes to the resolution, if I may.
let's take a look.
I'll wait until you're ready.
Yes, thank you. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
What are you looking to change?
All right, I would like to strike, in the, third paragraph, it says, whereas recently the transition of Lawrence Community Center daily operations from Homefront Inc., the Lawrence Township-based nonprofit organization that provides shelter, food, clothing, and other services to families in need has prompted the need for, and I'd like to strike the mayor of Lawrence Township to ask, and just to have it read, prompted the need for the Lawrence Township Council to create, and again, strike mayors, to citizens task force to provide information to council with regard to the continued operation of the community center. I think that's more inclusive of us as a governing body.
I specifically wanted it to be a mayor's task force.
Okay. I would like to then go, therefore be it resolved that the township, Lawrence Township Council create a citizens task force to do the following. And then I also wanted to, I would like to add that council would interview the members of this task force, that all meetings would be held in public and noticed, that the members represent the geographical and socioeconomic diversity of the township. Those are amendments I'd like to make to those.
Mayor, I'd like to keep them.
I'd like to keep them myself.
I'm okay with interviewing the members. It's up to you.
What I'm concerned about is
You took the words right out. What are your concerns?
I'm concerned about the fact that that this task force is not including. What is the criteria for the 7 members, not less than 5? Is it just? I don't know, right? And so that's why I wanted to ask that council interview these members, so that we would understand who they are. And
I thought you just made the argument that we shouldn't interview everybody who volunteers for the township's work.
this ad hoc committee, I think, is of greater importance in a way that we are taking the role of township setting policy by the 5 of us here and moving it to the task force.
I don't agree.
So just for clarification, Madam Mayor, please tell me if I'm correct. This task force is really to bring in 5 to 7 citizens of Lawrence Township to just review and discuss that the preservation of the community center is going in the right direction, that that it is serving the community as best as possible, and that everyone in the township with the members that are on this mayor's task force are expressing the opinions, and it will be a cross-section of the town members. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there policy or anything that?
No.
And you will present to us what they suggest, similar to the, I don't even want to go there, but.
Yes. I think we can vote.
And so, as point of order, I believe as the one who made the motion to introduce this, I get to end debate, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I just want to be clear then, is this task force going to look at the memorandum from the superintendent of recreation to the municipal manager dated July 31st, outlining what her vision was for the recreation center? Or are we just putting that aside and starting afresh?
We are not, the ad hoc committee is not making any policy changes or dealing with the recreation.
Well, but what I'm asking, I'm not asking policy changes, I'm
The
asking.
answer is no.
So they're not going to look at the recreation department's recommendations? This task force will not take into account what the recreation superintendent's recommendations were for the usage of the neighborhood center. Is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
The township manager, in our discussions, and anything that we've done here publicly, has stated that what recreation does is what recreation does. This ad hoc committee is merely in the interest of the Lawrence Community Center, looking at its history, the importance in the community in which it served since 1969, making sure that residents of the township have an opportunity to voice their concerns or provide any guidance to the council about changes that are occurring that may impact the residents in our community. As was discussed in our last meeting, for example, a food bank or things of that nature that the recreation department, I don't know all of the recommendations of the superintendent, but that is something that we are looking forward to. I can tell you that as a community.
Well, with all respect, that was an email that the manager forwarded to all of us on council.
On council.
Yeah. Monday, August 5th, 2024, at 12:47 p.m. Mayor and council members, please
So-
sign the memorandum prepared by our superintendent of recreation, Nancy Bergen.
So the council has that information, that is correct.
But what I'm asking is, will the task force?
We know that. So I'm on that, it's the mayor's task force, so that communication will happen.
I am fascinated that the state statute says that council needs to act as a body, and here we are creating a mayor's task force.
Okay. But
And I also, my last thing, and I promise I'll stop, because everyone's, I think, ready to move on from my concerns. But I don't understand why the reluctance to add that members represent the geographical and socioeconomic diversity of the township to this.
that goes without saying. I don't think we need to put it in writing. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is that all, Councilman?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Who did the second? I'm sorry.
Kanaki,
Yeah,
Councilman
second.
Kanaki.
Okay.
Then I'll second it.
He did. Yes.
Okay, you ready for the roll?
Okay. Mr. Bobbitt,
No.
Mr. Kaneki,
No,
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. Moving right along to the next item.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move 18H7, 347, authorizing the township attorney to prepare a request for proposal regarding the consolidation and/or centralization of the fire and EMS services.
I second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Okay, if you could call the roll, please. Oh, do you have a second?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a second.
The second is, Councilwoman, we can call the roll now.
Okay. Mr. Bobbitt.
Yes.
Mr. Kaneki,
yeah,
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. To the next, do you have anything? We've done 8, 9, 19. Okay. Those are all the resolutions, right? All right, do we have any council initiatives or liaison reports? Good, seeing none?
Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan, as our liaison to ELSA, do you have any news about the sewer ban? Any updates?
I did not go attend the last one, but I did an update with Councilman Kanaki.
Do you have anything else
Councilman
up
Kaneki?
next?
the last I spoke with Bob Filler, DEP has responded to our 5-year request to upgrade the pump station over time. That paperwork had to be in by September the 30th, was Monday. Our engineer that was supposed to come up with the design didn't have it for us, so it was more or less a letter that came to Bob, that Bob read to almost every board member of what this engineer saw Again, DEP accepted it. It went back to them. Now we're just waiting for them to give us a final okay, sign off on it, and then we'll be able to start moving forward.
Can I add something to that? There is a significant decrease if this goes through that they applied for where they're going to get the nitrates down, and it's well below what it is. Other towns have been using it from, I want to say.
It's air. This compressor is going to go back into the final.
And that's being proposed.
Right, it's compressors going into the final clarifiers, which are paddles from the 1950s that don't work right. So there's 4 tanks, all 4 have to be retrofitted, and it's going to cost money for it. But it will take the problem out for us. But you do 1 tank, you might do, the program is a 5-year program. So it's going to take us 5 years from when we start the program to the end to get all 4 tanks done and meet the requirements of DEC.
Mayor, I have one more question for Mr. Ryan as ELSA liaison. I was just going to ask, did you have a chance to talk, seeing Mr. Hooker out in the audience, did you have a chance to speak with him about the trees in Colonial Lake and the potential of the new pipe runs?
I have not.
Okay, so I'll just, Mr. Hooker grabbed me when I was walking the dog in Colonial Lake Park. And he kindly and gently told me about his understanding that new sewer line, is going to go across the lawn, but then it was unchanged. And but it was unclear whether that pipe was then going to go all the way to the street, up to Lake Drive, and then go up to Winchester, or whether it was going to go through the stand of trees within the park. So I just wanted to, I'm sure you're on it, but I just wanted to, Mr. Hooker to.
No, my understanding, correct me, Councilman, that it was not going through the park now.
The new pipeline is going up the street.
Up the street.
It's not going through the park at this time.
All right, now that's changed to me.
No, because that's the pipeline we got to look at to see what kind of damage is done.
From what? Correct.
All right. If that pipe can be repaired, we will sleeve it or line it. If it can't be repaired, then you got to look at putting a second pipe in somewhere. With the upgrades from 4th Street, Selvin Way, Lower Ferry from Ewing, is going to be sending a lot more flow to us, and also hopefully with what they're doing, because Ewing benefits from it. So it's going to be a lot more flow coming into the plant. These pipes been in the ground since 50s. They're terracotta. We know there's leaks in them. We know there's other problems with them too. My suggestion, and I ignored it when Bob was here that night, was shut the flow down, stop 4th Street. You can back up for 4 hours. It will not affect people. Send the cameras down there, shoot it real quick, see if there is damage that they're talking about. Then you know. They don't want to hear that. They want to put the pipeline up the street for right now. But it's not over. We don't know until further down the road if that has to go in.
So at this time, it would not interfere with the trees at Colonial Lake.
Great news. Thank you, Councilman.
Okay, I have some communication of this, from Senator Turner. Mayor Farmer, Lawrence Township Council, thank you so much for your expression of sympathy. I greatly appreciate your thoughtfulness. It is reassuring to know that I have so many caring people in my life. I am so grateful for you. Sincerely, Shirley Turner. With a thankful heart, Lawrence Township Council, thank you all for the beautiful snake plant and for thinking about me during my recovery. Donna McLaughlin.
Mayor, I have one question.
Sure.
It's now October.
October 1st.
I know many out there are very curious about the master plan.
Hmm.
And do you have any updates or does Councilman Ryan have any updates on when the next open houses might be?
We do not have any updates on the planning board, and I think we just received a cancellation. But
Next week's schedule.
yeah, next week is canceled. I don't have my notes with me, but I don't believe that a date has been set yet, but there should be 2 additional meetings this fall coming, so keep an eye out. That will be publicly noted on our website and everywhere that we communicate. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. All right, we have an application for zoning board.
Mayor, I'd like to interview that person.
That's just
Okay.
we don't have any positions
Positions,
up
okay.
yet, but we will have one that's
January.
coming up,
January.
in January, that's alternate too. So I just put it on there as an advisor.
Thank you, Councilman,
Yeah.
Barbara, we will make sure to include it in that interview process.
Well, not just me, all of council, I hope.
That goes without saying. Okay, just want to make sure. Okay, we are going to have an executive session, and we want to thank the public for coming out this evening for your comments and your participation. Thank you so very much.